Hey, this is Majin, and here's some comic reviews for you. I'm going to skip the good and the bad and the disappointing this week just because there's not a lot of books that I'm reviewing. But I think you can tell what the good and the bad were going to be. First up is Thor number 8, and I have to admit, Thor number 8's been really, really strong. Aaron's been doing a fantastic job, and while I really love the old Thor, I'm not missing it that much at all. The bulk, actually, I should say, the important part of the story though is the very end, where Thor confronts the female Thor version to find out who she is, and he pretty much thinks it's the Shield agent, but then we learn, nope, that's not it. Now, I really liked about this is the way they did some of the paneling, and the way they did the eyes in the panel, on like the way the eyes look in the mask. It just, I think all that's been great. Now, since Marvel did reveal who the female Thor is, I'll go ahead and spoil it just to put into context. The female Thor, spoiler alert, is Jane Foster, which is kind of an interesting pick because she has cancer, and basically she's willing to basically become Thor, even though it's going to kill her in the long run. And it shows a much more stronger character than just somebody who's as a background character who's going to die. And I thought that was a really interesting pick. Overall, I've been very pleased with this. Darth Vader number 5. I liked it, but it's one of those things I don't know how long I'm going to keep reading it. I thought the story was decent. It's basically Darth Vader it's basically just Darth Vader going on mini adventures, so to speak. And in this case, he meets an old adversary, and this person is basically training people in the ways of the Force, but they're not really Force like Jedi or Sith. And we get a guest star, the Emperor, at the end. So it's kind of like a battle royal to see the survival of the fittest is between the Sith Lord and this new ability that's basically formed. Now, while I'm enjoying it, this is one of those situations where I'm thinking that this is kind of like a really stiff book. Darth Vader's a very stiff character. There's not a lot you can wiggle for growth, and it's one of those cases where, I'm liking it now, but I can easily just see myself just 2 or 3 issues later going, okay, I've had fun on this ride, and now it's time for me to get off. Okay, Convergence number 6. This has just been a monstrosity this has got to go down as the worst mega event that I've ever seen in years. This is a prime example of, if you don't really have anything compelling to say, don't do it, because it sucks. And it's a shame that DC's actually putting their fans through this, because I think this is basically ridiculous. On the fair side, the artwork is great, but this isn't anything that we haven't seen before. Basically, what we learn in this issue here is the planet that all these cities are on. It's not a unique place, so to speak, where all the universes have been destroyed. They're all there, but he just teleported various things to this other planet to battle, and now the planet is basically leaving its confined area and now going into the New 52 realm, which made me just kind of just go, okay, well, that part of that makes sense because there's no catastrophe that happened in the New 52, and how everything looks like nothing changed at the end of this. But at the same time, this incursion is just right out of, you guessed it, Avengers. It's basically one world universe coming out and colliding into another one, and none of the heroes know what to do about it. So you also have a situation here where the villain, the person you thought was the villain, is just this guy who just wants to go home. And so Dick Grayson's like, okay, buddy, man, no harm, no foul. I'll help you. He's like, okay, well, that sounds great. I'll help you guys too. And then we get the villain. Everybody's off to fight the villain, the other new villain. And it's basically right out of Fear itself. And by that I mean it's basically superheroes versus the evil versions of themselves. And in some cases, you do get other like supervillains like Lex and Deathstroke, but you do have other, as you can see, evil versions. And okay, let's throw this out here. Now that we know this planet is leaving the, and it's entered the New 52 realm, you have the Red Lanterns, you have Superman, Supergirl, and Justice League Canada floating in space. So they're going to come in at a moment's notice, and this is just all of this is going to be wiped. This is a horrible book. King should be embarrassed for writing this. If they don't have a decline in readership after this, I would be surprised. It's truly an insult to my intelligence and an insult to me as a comic fan that this even exists. Horrible. Oh, before I go into Secret Wars, we'll do Magneto. Okay, guys, this is gonna be really quick. This is one of the first ones that are the last days of the Earth type thing, and in my opinion, like while everything in this story was great, it just kind of hit the brakes because now you have to deal with the end of the world. And it doesn't really seem like a true final chapter for this character in this storyline, because it's basically everything was right. Let's say, as an example, you're going on the highway going west, and then now suddenly you're going south, and it's an abrupt change. You just suddenly noticed, hey, I'm on the wrong road, and that's what this is kind of like for me. The art, I think it's okay, but I don't really like it as much. And I think it's really messy and muddy at times, and it's not really what I would consider a strong book, and in a way it's not even so far a strong Last Days of. Alright, Secret Wars. If you ever wanted to know what the deal is with Secret Wars and how everything is combining together, this is the issue you have to read. This explains it all. It explains Battle World. It explains how everything is connected. This world was created by Doctor Doom, and this stems from the new Avengers with him and Molecule Man. The new Thors are basically a police force that believe in justice, and they serve their god Doom. And it shows how all the different battle worlds are connecting, or the war zones are connecting, because you have the Mr. Sinister world, the Inferno world, you have the Apocalypse, the Great, not the Great Britain, the Great Britain and his group, and it shows how everything connects. It even shows how they settle disputes, and what they do with the people who are judged guilty, and this was just a really very very strong read. The art is fantastic. The story is great. It does jump around a little bit, but in jumping around, it basically gives you what you need. Like I said, let's see what's going here, let's see what's going on over there, so this way you can get a bigger idea of what this world is like. And that is something that Convergence lacked. It lacked that, okay, we know that the cities are battling each other, so let's take a look at a little bit more as to what's going on, versus, okay, fight, and then they fight. I said this really got me more on board on Secret Wars. It now also planted the seeds as to, hey, I wouldn't mind reading about now what's happening with the Ultrons, or the zombies, or the Age of Magneto. I mean, not the Age of Magneto, but Age of Apocalypse. So it does work in a lot of cases like that. So that part was really good. Great stories, or great springboard, I should say, and I'm really looking forward to it. Anyways, that's some reviews. If you have any comments or questions, let me know. Like, share. Let me know what your good, disappointing was. I also do the podcast with Cons, Freaks, and Geeks down below, and we'll have more stuff later. So until next time.